intentions, which is to eradicate child labour in our supply chain, to get 500,000 cocoa farmers out of poverty, to be carbon and forest positive, and to be 100% sustainable in all our raw materials by 2025. In order to do that, we have created a theory of change. A huge emphasis within that theory of change is on diversity of income. And it's also about supporting interventions on not only on-farm but off-farm, particularly in women's income generation. But as you can see on the grey line along the bottom, is what we call the macro challenges, the challenges that we need all other stakeholders to participate in to solve the problem. Because we can solve many problems at the field level, but we cannot solve problems like land tenure, finance of farmers, finance at farm level on our own. We cannot solve problems in relation to things like rural infrastructure, increased access to quality education. The whole chocolate sector cannot build thousands and thousands of schools. It needs to be part of a system change and an intervention from all participants in the industry. In order to test this theory of change, we are implementing 5 what we call comprehensive pilots in 5 origins, which is Ivory Coast, Ghana, Cameroon, Brazil and Indonesia, and trying to understand how we can change the way cocoa farming has been carried out over the last 150 years to the concept of what got us here will not get us there. So the pilots do not repeat what has been done before, but are trying to test out new approaches. What we're trying to do is create a self-driving, self-sustaining and scalable future. We cannot keep paying little amounts to try and create little initiatives and pilots and programs at the World Cocoa Foundation. The system has got to be self-driving and it's got to be self-solving. We have to create a proven business case for the farmers. We have to create a proven business case for farm services providers, a proven business case for farm financiers. One of the biggest challenges that we have at the field level is what we call the want and need gap. I go to a farmer, I'm going to change your life, I'm going to help you, you're going to be out of poverty. And the farmer says, actually, I'm fine. And that's what is happening at the moment. There is a massive discrepancy between our perception of risk and the farmer's perception of risk. We believe risk is return on investment, capital expenditure, fixed cost. The farmer thinks, if this goes wrong, I'm going to starve. And we need to start understanding how to close that want and need gap so a farmer is willing to go down a journey of what we call a farm development plan. The farm development plan is a multi-year roadmap out of poverty, which is supported by farm services and farm finance, where the farmer makes a return, the farm services business makes a return, and the finance makes a return. And that then becomes a self-driving, self-sustaining solution. So this is a macro challenge. If you look at the number of farmers that we need to be intervening with for finance at farm level, the amounts of money involved are in the billions of dollars. Now, I think that's an opportunity, not a challenge. But at the moment, it's a challenge. How many banks are lending directly to farmers in West Africa at the moment, cocoa farmers particularly? Not many. We need to support with farm services. We need to have services that are designed to help and support specifically farmers, not just cocoa services, but non-cocoa, labour contracting, and creating a professionalised environment where they have a microeconomy around them that helps them work themselves out of poverty. So working capital loans and to rehabilitate their farms. That means long-term lending. Even underplanting is going to take several years. When you start planting a tree, the return from a tree starts happening in 3 years. At the moment, the longest lending to farmers is a year. Even some of the most amazing organizations on this planet, I'll quote one, is like 1 Acre Fund. They're lending for 1 year. We need to lend for 7 to 10 years if you're going to rehabilitate cocoa farms and change the design of the farm to become multi-source income, a diverse farm. We need to help the farmers understand farm as a business and understand the risk and help them and support them through this risk and understand their perception of risk and not just quote business context to them, but quote personal context to them. And we have got to prove the business case. This is part of what the pilots are. So we have the confidence to help a farmer come through this journey. So in diversification of it, we have to support diversification of income, but that is the critical element of that is also access to market. Historically, we've said to farmers, why don't you plant something else? And then you walk away. So we have to bring other stakeholders in and who are willing to support and buy the products that are being grown on the farm. And we also need to have off-farm income support. We need to create opportunities for farmers and their families, not just on their farm. And also the critical element is obviously the women's income generation, to build income, to build decision-making rights in the household and in the community. Men drink the profit, women make sage and wise decisions with the profit and support their children. In the community, at the moment, we have an approach where what feels a little bit like policing, but the reality, it should be the community themselves taking their own decisions around the social interventions that need to happen and supporting their own children. And then this again is this self-driving, self-sustaining, scalable environment. We need to understand why the challenges of child labour are predominantly in Africa and less so in places like Indonesia, Brazil, Ecuador and Peru, and support those types of outcomes. We as Barry Callebaut have a foundation called Cocoa Horizons Foundation that supports these initiatives and is supporting us in trying to help understand how we create this outcome and become a catalyzer and an enabler. And we encourage all participants and all stakeholders in the industry to be part of this challenge. So, as we say, do you ever wonder where your chocolate comes from? If you do, you need to come and help us solve all the challenges that we have together. And when I say we, I mean all of us. I include governments, not only at origin level, but also at consuming country level. Everybody needs to be part of this journey. If we do it together, we can solve the problem. Thank you.